Hi everyone, welcome to Math 108 Pre-Calculus. In this video, I wanted to go over how the course will run through Moodle. So I'm currently logged into our class, and in this very first block, we have several things that you can click on, and the first one here is the class announcements. I will post things in here periodically about how when things are due, or when I've graded quizzes, or things like that. These posts are automatically sent to your email account, but you can also log in and click into this forum too. The second thing I have here is the help forum. So if you have questions about the course content or anything about the course in general, you can click here and then add a new discussion topic. Anyone is allowed to respond to this, but I'll be monitoring it as well, and so I'll respond to your posts. Going back to the main site for our class, homework will be submitted through MyLab Math, and I've included a link for it here. So let me click this link. So I have instructions on how you can register or sign into the class, and you would do that through here. If you already have an account, you can click sign in, but if you have to register and create a new account, then you can click here where it says student. I'll now go back to the Moodle site for our class. One thing that is required for our class is a graphing calculator, and if you currently own one, that is fantastic. But if you need to purchase one, I would actually recommend using these links here. I'll first click on the graphing calculator link, and this goes to a website called Desmos. And it's fairly simple to use, although it might take a little getting used to. For example, you can graph y is equal to x squared plus 1, and it'll give you a nice picture of it over here. You can then also use this to get a table of values if you'd like. So, there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but if you don't own a calculator, this can be very easy to use. So I'll go back to the Moodle site for our class. And I've also included a scientific calculator as well. So I'll open that up too. And this is also through desmos.com. So later in the semester, when we work on trigonometry, we might want to compute sine of 50 degrees. And here it just gives us the output here. Currently it's in degree mode, so I know this means 50 degrees. So this can be really nice too, and sometimes better than the calculator that appears on your phone if you have a smartphone. Going back to the site for our class, the next thing we have here is the Math Studio. If you need help outside of when I'm available, you can click this link and go into the Math Studio via Zoom. And down here I have the schedule of when that is available. So here Bob, for example, has a Zoom time Monday at 8:30 to 9:30. If you happen to be on campus, you can also stop by North 402, and it lists the people who are available to help at those times. And the last thing I included in this top block is highlights from the fall academic calendar. And I've highlighted the things that are really important for our class: holidays, the last day of classes, and so on. So this was the top block, but the rest of the class is set up in a week-to-week format. So here's the first week for our class. So each week will be really similar. So basically after the first 2 weeks, you should have a good idea for how the entire course will run. Essentially, you can first click on where it says Week 1 Checklist, and it will give you several things that must be completed by the end of the week. And it's nice here because let's say you read the syllabus, you can click here and it shows you the progress of what you've actually completed. And then if you unclick it, it'll just drop it back. It's not graded. You don't actually have to click these. I just like organizing it this way in terms of what you need to do. So reading the syllabus, registering for MyLab Math, and then watching some video lectures and completing homework assignments by the due date. I'll go back to the class and into our first week. So that's the checklist that tells you what to do. So here you can open up the syllabus and read it. I've included registration directions so you can register at MyLab Math. You will need the course ID, and I've highlighted it here. It's relatively straightforward, but there are directions here if you do need help. The other thing you can do is introduce yourself to the class. So you can click here and just say a couple of things about yourself, why you're taking the class, what you're interested in. And then down here are lessons for the class. So for this week, homework assignments for section 1.1 and 1.2 are due. Now, these are videos that I've created, and they link to my YouTube account. So I'll click this one here. And So load here in a second, but This is lesson 1.1 for our class. Disregard that it doesn't say MAT 108. It is, in fact, the correct lesson. I'm going to skip this ad.
In this lesson,
I've not monetized my account, but the second it goes past 100 views, ads will be included. I think they're pretty much just at the beginning, so I apologize for that. But here is a video that corresponds to the material that is covered in section 1.1. This one here is graphing points. So you can watch the video if you'd like. I'll go back to the Moodle site for our class. I've also included the notes for the lesson, so let me open these. So I'll bring this into the window here. This is the completed video. So basically, it's the examples that have been completely solved. And the way you choose to work through the sections is really up to you. And by that I mean, you could first watch the video lesson for section 1.1, then maybe look through the notes, and then try the homework assignment that it corresponds to, MyLab Math. You could also take the approach of, let's say, first work on the homework assignment. Maybe you're familiar with the material a little bit, and then anything you don't understand, you come back and look through the notes and try to find an example that corresponds to it, or click through the video for a particular example. So it's really entirely up to you how you'd like to work through it. Like I said, you could watch the video, check out the notes, and then try the homework, or even work backwards. That's completely okay too. I'll close this window. And I've also included the e-textbook links and links that come from the publishing company. This is not required, but if you'd like a different perspective than mine on the material, you can use these links to watch different videos that come with the actual textbook. And so basically from week to week, that's what it'll look like. If we move on to the next week, we again have a checklist, some videos that you can watch. The big difference here is that there's going to be a quiz that is submitted through Moodle. I'll make a second video on how to do that, but essentially I'll open quiz 1. I'll bring it into the screen here. It's got a couple of questions on it. You could print out this document and then write your work on it. Take a photo and upload one PDF back into Moodle where it says submit quiz 1 here. Or you could simply just write all of your work on a separate sheet of paper, and that'd be completely fine as well. So I'll close this. And let's say you open up the first quiz and you're not really sure how to solve the problems. Well, I've also included a practice quiz, which this is not required, but it's a quiz similar to this first quiz that has a solution, a written solution, and a video solution as well. So if you're stuck on something in here, feel free to check this out. It's not required, but it might help you actually solve these problems. I've also included a video on how to create a single PDF document. That is a requirement for submitting quizzes. They have to be one document and it has to be a PDF. The good news is, if you have a Gmail account, which we do, this is pretty quick and it won't take too much time to do that. So all the weeks are pretty much the same as the first two, except there is a midterm and a final. I'll mention more about that later, but the entire course is open. If you would like, feel free to work ahead. That is not a requirement, but let's say you finished the assignments that were in the first week and they went really well. I mean, feel free, if you'd like, to work ahead. All of the notes are available and all of the homework assignments are open in MyLab Math. All right, so it's going back to the top here. That is everything I wanted to say about the Moodle site for our class. So if you have any questions, feel free to either post them in the help forum or feel free to send me an email.